Hi, I'm Amy.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt.
This is our presentation on acceptance and commitment therapy.
Acceptance and commitment therapy, or as it's otherwise known, ACT, is rooted in two major theories. The first is cognitive theory, which briefly states the way we think influences our feelings and behaviors. The second major theory involved in ACT is relational frame theory. This theory talks about how limits in our language causes us to experience our thoughts in literal ways, and it causes us to have cognitive fusion, and this can cause psychopathology. An example of this cognitive fusion is a client who is having feelings of depression, and because of limits in our spoken language, experiences this literally and then believes that they are depressed. The goal of acceptance and commitment therapy is to increase one's awareness of their thoughts and to create psychological flexibility, which is based on 6 principles. These are acceptance, cognitive diffusion, self as context, being present, values, and committed action, which will be discussed in depth in just a minute. The importance of ACT is to help a client understand that brains are meant to analyze, and while this may cause anxiety or other unpleasant feelings, these feelings are not wrong or abnormal, and we can be more accepting of these thoughts and the way our brain works, and understand that how we think influences the symptoms we experience. Psychopathology is the result of psychological inflexibility, which stems from excessive psychological fusions and ineffective attempts to control our internal experiences. It's important to understand and accept our thoughts, and this alone can reduce symptoms without necessitating changing our cognitions as cognitive behavioral therapy would prescribe. Once a client increases his or her ability to view cognitions as observable and separate them from themselves, he or she can then accept these thoughts and commit to action regardless of the symptoms these thoughts cause them to experience.
Some of the principles involved in ACT are that values play a very important role. These can act as a compass to guide the client in the direction they want to go. Once the values are analyzed and kind of found out, then they'll give the client and the clinician a direction that the client wants to go. Clients will be able to develop mindfulness skills and tactics during an ACT intervention. In acceptance and commitment therapy, system reduction is not the immediate goal. It's more of a byproduct of accepting your thoughts and beliefs. It will undermine the roles of the detrimental thoughts and emotions, and painful feelings and unhelpful thoughts will have less of an impact on the client's life. ACT is rooted in relational frame theory, which is a behavior approach to how people develop speech and cognition. Knowledge of RFT can enhance the therapist's understanding of ACT, but is not necessary for an ACT clinician to know. It's kind of like you don't necessarily need to know how your engine works to be a good driver. It can help sometimes, but having an in-depth knowledge of how and why it works is not completely necessary. So the core processes of ACT are being present, or a conscious connection of awareness to what's happening in your situation. Cognitive diffusion can be how we relate to our thoughts. Just because we have a thought doesn't mean we are our thought. And it's detaching yourself from the moment. Internal events and thoughts are not inherently harmful, and they don't need to be controlled by the thought. Values. The client needs to be in touch with their values and decide what they want to get out of their life. They need to be what's worthwhile and what things are pleasing. Acceptance is taking a stance or a non-judgmental awareness and actively embracing the experience or thoughts, feelings, and body sensations as they occur. Committed action is defining the goals in one's values and acting towards them. This is going in the direction of your compass. And another is a selfish context, which is to recognize that you're not defined by your thoughts, but instead you make your thoughts. You're the originator of them. ACT sessions can last briefly up to 4 one-hour sessions. A medium length would be 8 one-hour sessions. It can even go with long-term therapies up to 42-hour sessions if the client needs that kind of intervention. ACT has been proven to be successful in many settings. It provides a flexibility and has shown effectiveness in treating the challenging cases. It can be used for chronic pain, PTSD, substance abuse, anorexia, bulimia, or other eating disorders, depression, or anxiety disorders, where it's most commonly used.
A significant amount of research has been done on ACT over the past decade. Research shows that ACT is an effective treatment for a wide range of problems. Like CBT, ACT emphasizes the relevance of language and cognition in psychopathology. However, ACT considers that thoughts and beliefs do not directly cause other behaviors.
So ACT is shown to be effective
in treating individuals with anxiety
Evidence
disorders.
supports that anxiety disorders are developed and maintained
Evidence
by
supports that
avoidant
anxiety
behavior
disorders
patterns
are developed and
and with
maintained by
maladaptive
avoidant
thoughts.
behavior patterns.
The
and
ACT
with
approach is
maladaptive
well equipped
thoughts.
to address these
The ACT
concerns
approach is
because
well
it teaches
equipped to address
clients
these
how to
concerns
accept and live
because
with
it teaches
unpleasant
clients how to
symptoms of
accept
anxiety.
and live with an
Clients
unpleasant
are then free to
symptoms
choose their
of
actions
anxiety.
that lead them to
Clients
their
are
chosen
then
values.
free to choose their actions that lead them to their chosen values. Here's a list of our references. Thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation. So that's about 8 minutes.
Our next presentation will be an example of acceptance and commitment therapy in practice. The clinician will demonstrate leading a client to acceptance and committed action towards his values.